Hello, this is Haberman, and this is Fugitive Hunter, trademark War on Terror, trademark game. Or as we'll refer to it over the course of the LP, just Fugitive Hunter War on Terror. I joke about this game having an alternate title, but it actually does in Europe, where it's called America's 10 Most Wanted.
At the dawn of the 21st century, the number of fugitives wanted by the FBI soared to record levels. Federal agencies were overwhelmed with unsolved cases. Fugitives became more dangerous and unpredictable, and the top 10 most wanted were increasingly linked to terrorism. This emergence of worldwide terror networks caused unprecedented casualties abroad and at home. To deal with this crisis, Congress orders the creation of CIPHER, the Criminal Interdiction and Fugitive Recovery Task Force.
Psst, just so you know, CIPHER's not a real thing. I already looked it up myself.
Down the world's most elusive and dangerous fugitives and bring them in alive. Hand-picked by the military to lead CIPHER's Alpha team, Lieutenant Jake Seaver is a veteran of counterterrorism and urban warfare.
Psst, that's our player character.
A covert mission was launched to hunt down and capture top Al-Qaeda leaders. Seaver was assigned to this mission on the Afghan-Pakistani border.
So, as you probably gathered from that introductory cinematic, as well as the title of the game itself, we're going to be hunting some fugitives in this game, including some terrorist sorts, both domestic and abroad, including the likes of Osama bin Laden, which will take us to the Middle East. As a matter of fact, it'll take us across the entire globe in our hunt for Osama. So, I mention this because this game gets a bit, stereotypical with its portrayal of, well, just about everyone, from our own citizens to those abroad, and some of you might find it offensive, and rightfully so, understandably so. So if you do have an issue with that sort of portrayal, I figure you're entitled to a bit of fair warning about that. Obviously, I'm critical of it, and I will be critical of it during the LP, but it's still very in-your-face, it's very apparent when playing this game. In case you couldn't gather from the look of the menus here and the button prompts at the bottom, we're playing the PlayStation 2 version of this here game. There is a PC version, but I couldn't track down a copy of it, so the PS2 version it is for us. Before we get into the game proper, let's take a look at one more menu here, the Special Features menu, specifically the videos within, which include some pretty standard extra bonus videos for a game, credits roll, commercial spots, some mocap sessions, freestyle rapping, you know, the usual features. And a director's commentary, which is probably the most interesting bit here. Unlockable from the start of the game, this actually takes you through an abridged playthrough of the entire game. Talk about some spoilers, and you can listen to the directors, or the developers really, talk about it all the while, give you some insight into the development process. I've watched it, so I know a few tidbits from it, but I think I'll probably find some way to put that up on this channel too. And the secret video as well, which will remain a secret. You know, I may not respect this game, I may not respect the people who made it, but damn it, I respect the idea of secrets. We'll show that at the end of the LP, that's what we'll do with that. Right, well, not much left to do except start the damn game now. We'll be playing this on the hard difficulty level, and with no inverted Y-axes. You know, I don't play many games with controllers, I don't play many console games, so that's sort of going to be a factor in this LP, let's say. It should make it a bit more interesting, maybe. That's the theory, anyway.
I've got a visual on LZ Raven. We're taking fire. Surface air weapons inbound. Mayday, we've been hit. Prepare for impact.
If you watch closely, that helicopter basically steers directly into all three of those missiles.
Fox 1, this is Sierra 5. Crew of 5 didn't make it. I'm the only survivor. Roger that, Sierra 5, I understand. Crew of 5 are dead. Proceed to LZ Blue Jay for extraction. We've got to make it quick. Roger that, I'll be there.
And well, with that brief cutscene out of the way, we are sort of unceremoniously dumped into the gameplay proper. And, I don't know how I feel about running into this wide open space. I grabbed one gun at least. No scopes right off the bat. I guess I'm better at these console games than I thought. I switched to a scope for that last shot, because we had all of 3 bullets, and we had to make sure that one hit.
I can't
team's gone. This sucks. I gotta get through this.
That's our player character Jake Seifert talking. He likes to talk a lot, but he doesn't have much to say. Not much charisma either, as we'll soon discover. And on top of all that, he's kind of an asshole.
Whoa.
There, inspired line reading on that. So, I mentioned that I don't play many console games. We're playing this with a PS3 controller, hooked into a PC. So this is almost something like a learning experience for me. And here's the gun that's going to take us through most of the game. Or at least shotguns in general will. Because I'm not great when it comes to aiming with analog sticks. So to have that extra bit of spread there is going to be immeasurably helpful. Not to mention the fact that this seems like a really powerful gun in this game, relative to just about everything else.
Stay calm. Remember the training.
Yes, the training which says to blow up barrels 2 feet in front of you, when it comes to my training anyway. There's a continue system in this game, and you know what, I'm not going to be cheesing this with any save states or anything. We're going to play the hand we're dealt. And if I run out of continues, I'm going to get mad. And I'll have to probably restart the level or whatever. I managed to beat my first playthrough of the game with something like 20 leftover continues, so it's not a particularly challenging game. It might challenge my patience a bit, but no, difficulty is not a problem in this game. Another problem this game doesn't have are the controls. They seem totally adequate. There's no look sensitivity adjust. Then again, there were plenty of games at this time that forgot that feature. This time, by the way, being November 2003.
Just what I was looking for.
Alright, what were we looking for then? I think it was it this grenade launcher, or was it the flamethrower deal? We have grenade launchers and flamethrowers this early in the game. Bit of a spoiler alert, we don't get to keep them between missions, so we'll be starting from scratch come next level. And I'm just gonna avoid conflict when possible. Luckily for us, the enemies have a hard time hitting us when we're moving. Here's that dragon, here's the flamethrower. We'll demo this as long as we have it, because it might be a while until we get it again. In the developer commentary, they talk about wanting the game to open up quickly and wanting to give you like a bunch of weapons right off the bat so you can see what the endgame stuff is like. As a bit of a teaser of sorts. And I guess I get where they're coming from, but on the other hand, it sort of feels like, well, why are you giving me these weapons if you're just going to take them away from me? And then you start every other mission in the game with just like a pistol or a tranq gun. And it's like, why can't I hang on to that grenade launcher? Seems like it might come in handy down the line.
Ho!
Certainly more useful than this assault rifle, which the assault rifles in this game are not so great. The recoil on them seems nearly unmanageable. They just go all over the place. And I'm pretty sure that dude just unintentionally blew himself up with his own RPG. Well, that was fast. That's Osama right there. Who we will actually not be facing quite yet. Instead, we're going to fight one of these goons in the fighting game within the FPS. Because yes, there is a fighting game within this game, within this primarily first-person shooter. Now, I mentioned that the first-person shooter segments have adequate controls, reasonable difficulty. This fighting game section, on the other hand, well, let's see what happens if I just press triangle and circle at the same time over and over again.
How's your ribs?
Yeah, this is pretty basic.
Tough.
You spam the X button here, and you're done. That's it.
Fox 1, this is Sierra 5. I've cleared the area. Get me out of here. I'm gonna have to try to hold it steady. You're gonna have to jump.
And there we go, another cutscene as a reward for our hard work. That fighting game segment, by the way, according to the director's commentary, took over a year to implement, to perfect, to make sure they got it right. And as you can tell, they nailed it. That's great. 365 days well spent there. And we get a stat breakdown as well. Haven't broken that high score yet. Luckily this is a cumulative total, so we'll break that easily by next mission. And we'll get up on that leaderboard, and then when all my friends come over, they can challenge my score. Right, that's not going to happen, obviously. And that takes us right back to the menu here, where if we want to proceed, we will go to the most wanted fugitives list here, which will act as our sort of level select. Except not really, you'll see what we mean in a second. Let's go through all the most wanteds, though. Now, I haven't checked to see if any of these names actually correspond to the FBI's most wanted, or if they're just 10 names they came up with, 10 characters they invented. And actually, no, it's not even 10, is it? It's 11, when you take Osama into account. So really, it should be America's 11 most wanted in that case. What happens if we try to go after Osama? He would be the most wanted. And at which point it tells you that Fugitive Richardson is still at large, that being the first mission in the game. In fact, you do have to go through every level in order to unlock each of the next sections. So why they choose to lay out the mission select like this, make it look like you have some sort of choice in the matter, is honestly a bit confusing.
Jamal Richardson was an accomplice in a series of murders and bank robberies perpetrated by the Biscayne posse. Richardson held 2 hostages at gunpoint while they were executed by his partner, Casey Weber. Richardson should be considered armed and dangerous.
Oh, come on now. He can't be that hardened a criminal. He doesn't even have an alias, according to this dossier.
We just got this in. A snitch on the inside of Weber's gang dropped dime on him. Casey Weber's been spotted in the warehouse district. Move fast and you'll be able to capture him and his second-in-command, Jamal Richardson. Radio me when you've got Weber. Roger that, Alpha 1.
Give me all your freaking money! I ain't got no money, bro!
Amazing there how the dude being held up has a tougher voice actor. Sounds more gruff than the man holding him up. So, they start us with this flechette, or flechet? I never know how to pronounce that, to be honest. And already we're finding a scope for it.
Let's see what we can see.
Get ready for another 3 hours of jokes like that, folks. That's the caliber of comedy we're working with.
I'ma bust you up!
Oh, you gonna bust me up? We'll see about that.
Come on, bring it!
You're coming in this time.
So, as you can tell, our player characters' comebacks are sort of lacking.
That's right.
He's trying to do the whole action movie badass with the action movie catchphrases deal, but he's just not clever enough for it. Which leads to some unintentional comedy at the very least.
Like that? Party's over for the posse, pal. Who's tough now, Jamal? Up against the wall!
Alpha 1, this is Sierra 5. Fugitive is in custody at my location, proceeding to next target.
Roger that, Sierra 5, I understand. Proceed to the next target.
And we're just gonna hope that he stays put there. Not gonna tie him to the wall or anything. You know, we're just gonna trust that he learned his lesson. By the way, in case you weren't aware, Miami is constantly on fire, so it's good to see that represented in the game. All that fancy footwork and it got you nowhere, you fool.
Looks like Weber's been working with someone in Utah.
So, these mission objectives that we have here mostly comprise of us picking up pickups on the map. We have a radar in the bottom left that points us in the direction of them.
Oh boy.
So, the explosions in this game kinda barely do any damage to anyone, which makes the weapons like the grenade launcher kinda useless. Speaking of useless, get a load of this door!
Every shot counts.
I can't believe that worked.
Yo, fellas, we got company.
Gee, if I didn't know any better, I'd say they're talking about us.
Got the key.
So the pistol in this game is intended to be the last resort weapon, the thing you switch to when you're out of ammo for everything else. But luckily for us, we'll be picking up a shotgun. Yeah, there we go. And as you can see, it kills dudes in one shot. You don't even have to have perfect aim with it, because it's a shotgun, it has spread. That's what I meant when I said that shotguns are going to carry us through this whole game. I'm not sure why we needed a key for that door, since we've been kicking doors down since we got here, or we could have just climbed over the wall in this case. And as you can tell, we've already captured the first criminal here, so now we're moving on to a second. And this is actually how a lot of the missions in this game are laid out, where you'll go in for one guy and you'll end up finding a second guy, and you figure, you know, as long as we're in town, might as well grab him too. So here's the grenade launcher we're about to demo. Remember I made that point about the explosives in this game not being very effective? I'm going to guarantee that despite blowing up between 3 dudes, that explosion won't have killed anyone. It has to be pretty much a direct hit with it, which makes it, well, pretty useless like I've been saying. When your pistol is more effective than your grenade launcher in your game, might be time to rebalance. Might be time to reevaluate the numbers, make sure that your grenade launcher works to begin with, because it clearly doesn't in this game. Oh, unless of course it's the enemies using it, in which case it takes us from having full health and some armor to having 8% health. So let's get out of that situation. Right, so clearly we want to take him out from a distance, which gives us 1 dart. And I think I hit the fence with that one, so let's empty out this clip and hope for the best. Believe it or not, this is what it looks like when I play games conservatively. You see, I may have plenty of continues, we may finish this game with more than enough of them, but if I can avoid dying, I'm gonna avoid dying. It's a policy that's worked well enough for me so far in life. Words to live by, really. Pistol's not great in this game either, I'm just using it in favor of our other options here, which include that flechette gun, which is just a tranquilizer, they get back up from it, and the grenade launcher, which, as we've established, ineffective at best. We have the double-barreled shotgun, which is great, but sort of want to conserve some of that ammo for it, since they've shortchanged us on it in this mission. Almost as if they know it's the best gun in the game, and they're trying to keep us from using it too often. Now let's see what's behind door number 1.
I like it.
What a nerd. So I guess I should comment on the setting here, the environment, the enemies we're up against. I mean, I guess what's there to say, really? It's as stereotypical as can be. I mean, I get that gangs and gang violence are legitimate threats, are legitimate dangers, and that there is, you know, cause for law enforcement to get involved to combat them. Never mind the fact that law enforcement itself is corrupt and a danger to everyone around it, but that's beside the point. Or is it? More thoughts on that later.
Like God on the boulevard!
Well, that's gonna be the first death we concede, probably the first of a few in this LP, but luckily they respawn you immediately where you died.
Who's that over there?
Oh?
Don't shoot, man.
This must be our snitch then. Who we're gonna have a brief little talk with.
I got no beef with you, dog.
Where's Weber at?
You after Webb? I'll tell you where he at. Give me some money, dog.
Here's some cash.
I'll give you the key to the warehouse.
Now get out of here.
That was, great little bit of dialogue, not stilted in the slightest. And this man, of course, will not be going anywhere. He'll just stand right here, staring vacantly at us.
Take a nap.
Completely impervious to harm. Right then, so we're going to turn around and hope this isn't some elaborate ruse to shoot us in the back while we're climbing up this ladder here. But before we do that, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. When we get back, the conclusion of this level. And we're back. Bit of a note on the music in this game, something I thought to talk about. In the European version of this game, the America's Top 10 Fugitives Most Wanted, whatever it's called, already forgotten the name of it, all these songs have lyrics. They have rap over them. In this version of the game, obviously, all we get are instrumentals. Which, when you go to the special features and you saw that freestyle rap we pointed to earlier, you know, that's the guy who was rapping over it. A little bit of a secret area for us here. So, while we may be missing out on the lyrics to this music, it's probably for the best for commentary, since it means that I'm not competing with any more voices than necessary. Just mostly competing with the enemies and with our own player character with his dumb one-liners.
A scope.
Like, see there, was it really necessary for him to say a scope out loud? Did we really need that? I mean, just because you have voice acting in your game doesn't mean you have to voice act literally everything and have a quip for every possible instance. It's scope for grenade launcher too, which is just pointless, so... What is it with me picking games that have player characters who don't shut up? First one was like Shell Shock 2, then we did Rogue Warrior, then we did Tunnel Rats. You can put Call of Juarez the Cartel and Sniper Path of Vengeance on that list too, and you've got yourself a good list of games which make up a good argument for having silent protagonists in first-person shooters. So that's a dead end there. Ain't going through that door. And the first time I played this game, I want to say I spent about 5 minutes trying to find the next place to go. Because at that point I still didn't know that the radar was supposed to sort of point you in the direction of your objectives. But even knowing that, that ladder's still a bit hidden.
Not so bad. Some health.
Okay, so into the warehouse we go. Except it's locked, even though we have the key for it. What is a soldier like us to do?
So much for those weapons. Ho!
And of course, the solution is to blow up the weapon cache. Conveniently, on the rooftop. And doing that conveniently unlocks the door for us, or gives us the ability to unlock the door. Magically transforms the key into the right key? I don't know. I don't pretend to know these things. That song has a weird pause in it for some reason. It always throws me off. Maybe in the lyrical version, the version with vocals, they say something during that second gap. And ladders in this game are hard to navigate as they ever are in console games. Case in point. I'll never get used to controlling with an analog stick, never fully anyway. I mean, when you spend 20 years, give or take, with keyboard and mouse, it's hard to get used to anything else.
Mother.
So this shotgun is my favorite weapon, as established. Maybe the tac shotgun is slightly better, being that it's fully automatic, but this does more damage, I imagine, has more spread to it. There should be another objective for us to blow up in here. Yeah, there we go. That would be another weapon cache or shipment or whatever. I guess we've got no interest in seizing or confiscating them. We're just gonna blow them up outright. So there's some jerk at the top of the stairs who rolls down an explosive barrel, sort of Donkey Kong style, I guess. Which seems like a sensible plan of attack for a big monkey, but maybe not so much for a guy who has access to guns. Just a thought. And behind this door will be the boss of this level, Weber, and one of his henchmen who's easily dispatched. Weber, on the other hand, gotta take him out in another fist fight.
Tough guy. I'm gonna kick your ass. In that outfit? Let's get this over with. Bring it on! Going back to jail, Weber.
Another war of the words right there. And again, the triangle circle strategy will take us through the entire fight, with nary a scratch on us.
Seaver, you ain't all that.
And how does everyone know our name in this game? That's something else you're gonna notice, is that everyone calls us by our name, Seaver.
Okay, it's handcuff time.
Are we really that infamous among the criminal community?
Take a walk, Weber.
Seaver, you ain't all that. You just a thug with a badge.
Watch your step.
Come on, man.
And Seaver's a jerk. We might do well to keep that thug with a badge comment in the back of our heads, because, honestly, it's sort of one of the running themes for this game. Not to say that the game portrays Seaver as a ethically and morally questionable protagonist. In fact, quite the opposite. The game wants you to get behind him when he does stuff like kick this guy down a flight of stairs, despite him being handcuffed and defenseless. It's supposed to be cool and badass and endearing in some way, But in my eyes, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it just makes Seaver look like a huge jerk. And believe you me, this won't be the last time we see him pull a stunt like that. No, this is just the beginning. Being that this is the first episode and all. Speaking of which, that's the end of this episode. And I hope you'll join us for the next episode where we apprehend yet another fugitive.